Get tired of adventures. There's always new places to see and new things to do. From extreme activities to something more low-key, the world is pretty much full of experiences that are ready for you to explore. All you need is a little determination. Now, there are some parts of the world that are very intriguing and I'm sure pretty exciting, but they're also not open for public. And that's because they're illegal. Yes, that's right. Going into these places is against the law. So today we're going to be looking at 10 places you can't visit. Some of them are off limits because they hold an important historical value that could easily be compromised if people get a little too close to them. And a few other places are illegal because, well, they're used to do things that you're not supposed to see. Kinda like the place at the top of this list. Number 10. The Lascaux Caves. These French caverns were discovered in the 1940s by a group of teenagers. 8 years later, the place opened to the public, and of course, tons of people went to check out this place. But just what is so special about it? Well, apparently the walls of the caverns are full of paintings and historical drawings that date back to the Ice Age. This is probably one of the earliest samples of human non-verbal communication. But when the crowds began to fill this place, some scientists realized that their visits were bringing a bit too much carbon dioxide. On top of that, it also brought humidity and other contaminants that made the caves moldy. By the 1960s, only a handful of people were allowed to go into the caves just to restore the paintings and restore the damage made by the crowds. For that reason, you can only explore this place in pictures, but it's not likely that you'll be able to see it in person. In fact, the place is still moldy. Some paintings were never able to recover from the damage made decades ago, sadly. Man, we humans just mess things up when we don't even try to mess things up. Number 9. Varosha. How do you feel about ghost towns? I'm sure some of you are scared of them, but I'm sure many of you find these places pretty fascinating. Now, imagine a ghost town with golden sands and clear blue waters. Sounds like paradise, right? Nice view, no people. Oh, that just sounds great right now. In essence, that's what Varosha was. In fact, the place was popular among Hollywood stars like Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor, and many others who enjoyed the beauty of this place. So how did this become a ghost town, though? Well, Varosha is part of a city called Famagusta, which is in Cyprus. In 1974, this country was invaded by Turkey. At some point, people were feeling so insecure that they all had to flee this place, and it suddenly turned into a ghost town. And you know, honestly, I don't blame them. I don't think there's anyone who would really like to get caught in crossfire. Today the conflicts aren't as tense as they were back then, but the Turkish still hold control of Varosha, and only people in the army are allowed to go in. Number 8. A new island. When we think of islands, we usually think of isolated spots in the world where we can go relax and escape the real world. But not all islands in the world are open to tourism. In fact, some of them are only open to very specific people for purposes that are anything but a holiday. That is the case of Surtsey Island in Iceland, which is used as a massive laboratory. It all started in 1963 when the island formed as a result of a volcanic eruption. They named the island after Surt, a mythological creature. Given the fact that the island is new and untouched by humans, this spot has been useful for scientists to study how plants and animals populate new places. In the 70s, scientists had already seen how some plants had started to grow on the island. Their seeds were brought by waves and the poop of some birds. I'd really rather not imagine what would happen if they let tourists in. We would bring all sorts of things with us, and it would definitely defeat the purpose of the island. Number 7. New York's mysterious island. And here's another odd island. This one isn't far from a place that's a popular destination for all kinds of tourists. That being the Big Apple, New York City. But putting Times Square, Broadway, the Empire State Building, and other Manhattan attractions aside, there is one spot very near to the city that's been abandoned for more than 50 years. It's called North Brother Island, and it was used as a hospital in the 19th century. They used it as a quarantine place for people who had smallpox and other diseases that could be spread to a wider population. There is someone who they called Typhoid Mary who spent 3 years on this island while battling the infamous typhoid fever. Given current events, this might actually be a good island for everything that's going on. However, it's kind of impossible. The island shut down operations in the 60s after claims of corruption and other problems that gave the place a bad reputation. The place has been abandoned since then, and it's off limits to the public. But I guess you can get an idea of what this place is like. An island, an abandoned hospital, blackbirds flying above it. It kinda sounds like the scenario of a horror film, let's be honest. Number 6. Heard Island. Do you think Australia is remote? Wait till you've heard about Heard Island. No, I'm not sorry about that pun. This is actually part of Australia, but it is a bit far away from it. This place is located between Madagascar and Antarctica, and it's known for a few things, including its 2 active volcanoes, its seals and penguins, and the fact that it's forbidden to regular visitors. You can visit the nearby McDonald Islands if you are a scientist with a legit reason to go there, but otherwise you can't come close to these islands. The reason for this is to keep its animals free from any outside pests and any other threats that would compromise the safety of the wildlife in this remote part of the world. Its tallest volcano is about 2,745 meters high, and its peak has only been reached 3 times in history. People who have seen this mountain in recent years swear that the peak is now at least 50 meters higher. But of course we're never gonna know because we're kinda not allowed there. Number 5. A church in Ethiopia. Aren't churches supposed to be places open for everyone? Well, that's not the case at the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Ethiopia. But it seems like they have a good reason for their restrictions. They claim that they're the spot in which the Ark of the Covenant is located. If you remember our other videos about mysteries in the world, there's one in which I talk about this historical artifact. This Ark is the one that contains the 10 Commandments that God dictated to Moses in the Bible. Lots of intellectual people around the world have different theories regarding the whereabouts of this Ark, but the people in this Church of Ethiopia claim they're the ones who have it, and there's only one person who can see it. It's a special guardian monk that got appointed by a monk before him. And so the chain goes on from guardian monk to guardian monk until the end of times. So unless you become one of these monks, the chances of you walking into this church are pretty much none. Number 4. Vatican Apostolic Archive. If you're a devout Catholic or someone who's interested in religion, then the Vatican City has some spots that you might find interesting. They've got museums, temples, and some guided tours that can offer you a ton of information about this place. But they also have an archive full of interesting documents that only selected people are allowed to see. It's said that these documents hold important information regarding extraterrestrial encounters, supernatural experiences, and some documents that link the Catholic Church to dark political events. The only way for you to see these documents is by becoming a highly qualified scholar or educator, and that's only after passing a very strict review of your intentions. You aren't going to be allowed into the archive if you just want to search these documents out of curiosity. Number 3. A metro system in Russia. Remember when Harry Potter took a secret train to get to Hogwarts? Well, fictional stories like that are indeed fascinating, but they're actually not that far from reality. There is a complex metro system that mirrors Moscow's own public metro system, except that it's almost 200 meters underground. It's made out of 4 lines and it connects important government buildings, including the Kremlin, the government airport, and the Federal Security Service. This system was made to help in the event of a nuclear catastrophe. The Moscow Metro System Administration neither confirms nor denies the existence of this place, so of course it's not the kind of system that you can explore as a tourist. But hey, some people actually claim that they have found entrances to this system. So maybe you should keep your eyes open during a visit to Russia's capital city. You don't know if you'll find a secret spot linked to this system. But probably it's best if you don't look into these secret entrances. You don't want to mess with Russian authorities. And hereabouts, and I need to remind you, this place isn't open to the public. But some people are trying hard to get in. Number 2. Area 51. Area 51 is the dream location for anyone who's obsessed with conspiracy theories. And I honestly don't blame them. The events surrounding this location give people a lot of opportunities to come up with their own theories regarding what goes on inside this place. The most popular theory claims that the place is being used for alien testing. The people supporting this belief say that the government has known about extraterrestrial beings living among us humans for a while, and Area 51 is the place with all the answers. But there's no way to prove this, as the place is surrounded by mines and high-level security that makes it impossible for anyone to go through. Recently, some people came together on social media and decided to storm this place, but government authorities discouraged them and said that the place was used as training grounds for the US Air Force. Number 1. The Queen's Bedroom. No visit to the UK would be complete without a stop at Buckingham Palace. This place has been the home to the British royalty since the year 1837. If you ever visit this place, you'll be able to go on public tours of different rooms and other amazing areas of the palace. But there's one place that no one is allowed to visit, that being the Queen's bedroom. This place is forbidden, and I guess I don't need to explain why. However, a man named Michael Fagan managed to break into the room back in the 1980s just to win a bet with some of his friends. That bet did come at a high price though, as he was sentenced to 2 years in prison, but he did get out early for good behavior. How far would you go to break into a forbidden place? Do you wish you could visit any of the spots I mentioned today? Let us know in the comments section down below. With all that said and done, that's our video for today, folks, and I will see you all next time. Later, everybody.